Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, sorry, I had to end the stream because I'm not streaming properly. I'm streaming directly to YouTube, and I got a call, so I had to jump back in. But alas, yes. Today very exhausted, and so I will do something slightly different. Um, yeah, cheers, Tolu. um, because today's just been a whirlwind, and I haven't actually had a chance to read, so we'll do a read with me. So we'll read together, and I think I did this last a couple of weeks ago. Read together and sort of talk through it as we do. Um, because we're doing it this way, I won't make notes as I normally would. Um, but sort of just go down whatever tangents we go down as we go. So cool. Today's reading was Genesis 27 to 29. We yesterday read about Esau selling his birthright for a pot of stew, um, and eventually read about Esau. Yeah, Esau's wives sort of making trouble for. Um, no, that's not true. Where do we finish yesterday? Because we ended on someone's wives making trouble for them, which was um, because this will bother me. I'm going to bring it up. Where's my Bible? I really should be using my physical Bible whilst I'm here. It's very easier to get to Genesis 26. So, yesterday, 26. Yes, Esau's wives made life miserable for Isaac and Rebecca. That's where we finished off yesterday. And let's read today. So, I'll share my screen so you guys can see it as well. Um, and that's today's. So one day when Isaac was old and turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son, and said, "My son." "Yes, my father," Esau replied. "I am an old man now," Isaac said, "and I don't know when I may die. Take your bow and quiver full of arrows and go out into open country to hunt some wild game for me." We remember that, I think in chapter 25, Esau became his father's favorite for the wild game that he would go out and hunt and bring, and Jacob, by his quiet temperament, became Rebecca's um, favorite. And it's worth remembering again because I think this often goes unsaid. At this point, Esau has sold his birthright, so by all by all rights, Jacob owns Esau's birthright. Um, and so as we go, I mean, let's carry on reading, shall we not? Prepare my favorite dish and bring it here for me to eat. Then I will pronounce a blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son, before I die. Technically speaking, Esau sold that's this birthright, and so if Esau were to be completely honest, he should tell his father that blessing now belongs to my brother. I sold it to him yesterday because I didn't value it, and I thought a bowl of red stew would suffice to to pay for this blessings. So bless Jacob, but he doesn't. And yeah, let's finish reading because I think there's a technicality here that we might overlook. Rebecca overheard what Isaac had said to his son Esau. So when Esau left to hunt for the wild game, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father say to Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare me a delicious meal. Then I will bless you in the Lord's presence before I die.' Now, my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me two fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father so he can eat it and bless you before he dies. But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is a hairy man and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? He'll see I'm trying to trick him, and then he'll curse me instead of blessing me." But his mother replied, "Then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me." So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother, Rebekah. for his mother. Rebecca took them and prepared a delicious meal, just the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were there in the house, and gave them to her younger son, Jacob. She covered his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread. So Jacob took the food to his father. My father, he said. Yes, my son, Isaac answered. Who are you, Esau or Jacob? Jacob replied, it's Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you told me. Here is a wild game. Now sit up and eat it so you can give me a blessing. Isaac asked, how did you find it so quickly, my son? The Lord your God put it in my path, Jacob replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you really are Esau. So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's, Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy, just like Esau. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. But are you really my son, Esau? He asked. Yes, I am, Jacob replied. Then Isaac said, now, my son, bring me the wild game. Let me eat it, and then I will give you my blessing. So Jacob took the food to his father, and Isaac ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, please come a little closer and kiss me, my son. So Jacob went over and kissed him. And when Isaac got smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced. And he blessed his son. He said, ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the outdoors, which the Lord has blessed. From the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you abundant harvest of grain and bountiful wine. May many nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to curse you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and almost before Jacob had left his father, Esau returned from his hunt. Esau prepared a delicious meal and brought it to his father. Then he said, sit up, my father, and eat my wild game, so you can give me your blessing. But Isaac asked him, who are you? Esau replied, it's your son, your firstborn son Esau. Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, then who just served me wild game? I have already eaten it, and I blessed him just before you came. And yes, that blessing must stand. When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. Oh, my father, what about me? Bless me too, he begged. But Isaac said, your brother was here and he tricked me, and he has taken away your blessing. Esau exclaimed, no wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First, he took my rights as firstborn. First he took my rights as firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me? Isaac said to Esau, I have made Jacob your master, and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine, and what is left for me to give you, my son? Esau pleaded, but do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too. Then Esau broke down and wept. Finally, his father, Isaac, said to him, you will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck. From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing. And Esau began to scheme. I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. But Rebekah heard about Esau's plans, so she sent for Jacob and told him, listen, Esau is consoling himself by plotting to kill you. Now listen carefully, my son. Get ready and flee to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay there with him until your brother cools off. When he calms down and forgets what you have done to him, I will send for you to come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I am sick and tired of all these local Hittite women. I would rather die than see Jacob marry one of them. Uh, so actually, I won't read chapter 28 just yet because a few things I want to point out here. As I was saying, technically speaking, the firstborn's blessing should have gone to Jacob because Esau had sold it. Now, I've always wondered why, if Jacob got the blessings untruthfully, he got it in a deceptive manner, why couldn't Isaac just take it back? But I'm drawn back to when Rebecca got pregnant. So in chapter, I think 24 or 25, Rebecca gets pregnant with these twins and they struggle within her womb. And then she prays. And God says, you have two nations, and the older will serve the younger. So there's already a prophecy, if you will, regarding Esau serving Jacob. And one thing I love is the fact that we see this sort of play out um, organically, right? Jacob and Esau come out. Jacob is called Jacob, grabber of the heel. The name Jacob means it means supplanter, but they named him Jacob also because I think it's the I believe the word either has a root that means heel or it means to grab the heel. Where is it? I just need Jacob's name. So H3290, the original word, heel holder or supplanter. Supplanter being to replace, right? To supplant, to, you know, yeah, to replace something. I believe that's correct. So supplant meaning supplant. Yeah, yeah, supersede or replace. Right. So it's interesting, right? Because the original Hebrew word means heel holder or supplanter. And interesting enough, he was named because he held Esau's heel. However, when it came down to it, he replaced Esau through this trickery, but beforehand through selling Esau a bowl of stew, right? And so we've seen sort of God's proclamation come to pass organically. The people themselves made that prophecy self-fulfilling, as it were. If I go back to Genesis 27, we are at, and I want this in NLT. Cool. So Jacob technically should get that blessing. It seems no one realizes that people listen in and everyone just announces their plans out loud because Isaac said it and Rebecca heard and got Jacob to trick him. Esau, as we because this is the end of the chapter, also said he's going to kill Isaac, and for whatever reason decided to say that out loud. Rebecca heard and told Isaac, told Jacob again. But we see how Jacob comes to trick Isaac into blessing him. The other thing that sort of really stands out to me about this chapter is we treat words as though they are just words, or maybe we recognize our lack of power and lack of power behind our words. Or actually, maybe we don't recognize that and use words so casually. Because Isaac, in saying the things he did in blessing Jacob, it's as though he has established something in the spirit that cannot be taken back. And we see it as just words, but his reaction to Esau finding out that Jacob had tricked him and Esau demanding a blessing of his own is as though these things I have said have a foundation that I cannot uproot. I have said them and they will be. Um, and maybe that's Isaac being a patriarch, knowing his power in God. Um, but maybe it is that very fact that he believed those words to be so true that he couldn't just take them back and sort of give Esau another blessing, say something else for Esau. Instead, when he tries to bless Esau, it's like he's trying to find a way around what has been said. He's trying to, find a means to not break what has already been said, but give Esau some sort of respect, as it were. You will serve your brother, you will live by your sword, and then when you decide to break free, you will shake its yoke from your neck. I find it quite interesting. They say the power of life and death is in the tongue, and you really see that here. You really see that whatever he has said, he can't just break. He maneuvers around what has been established. Um, And I guess to some extent, I think that speaks to a father's, the power of a father's words over their son, over their children, you know, and how important is it for parents to speak? You know, I want to avoid using sort of Christianese speech, and sort of, you know, we get used to saying certain things, I think, without really thinking, or without appreciating what they mean. So I don't want to just say we should speak life over our children, but that's effectively what it is. What we say is established. Now, maybe on a physical level, you know, there's a psychological aspect to it. If your father is continually telling you that you're a failure, it should not surprise you if you become a failure, because that's all you've heard. And there's been something established within your heart that points to that by virtue of the words of your parents. But I think there is also a reality where if you speak a blessing, and if you speak good things, and you encourage a child, or you recognize their strengths, that they also will grow with that, you know, and will grow into that reality. Interestingly enough, I think there's also an aspect of, you know, how much are you going to fight for what you believe, you know, because, and as much as I note the power of a parent's words, I'm literally reading the autobiography of Churchill, and he was Winston Churchill. He was the exact opposite. His parents didn't really believe he would amount to anything, um, except for he himself, you know, believing that he was born to be something great in this nation. You know, he sort of bullied his way into what he became despite his parents' words. And so I think that there's something interesting there that we should be mindful of. Um, and you know, we get this instance of, all right, Jacob's got the blessing, but now he's going to have to run. You know, and there's a reality of, you might be blessed, but if Esau has his way, he will also kill you and stop that blessing. I think there's a reality there that he very well could have, if not for Rebecca's intervention. I won't read the entire chapter because I'm now into day 22. But we see Isaac, we see Jacob. Sorry, Jacob ran away and he goes to Laban, and over there on his way, actually, as he traveled towards it, we have Jacob's ladder, this interesting thing of Jacob's ladder, where he fell asleep and dreamt as he was going. But he dreamt, and I'll just read that quickly. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway that reached from the earth up to heaven, and he saw angels going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather and the God of your father. The ground you're lying on belongs to you. I am giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust in the earth. They will spread out in all directions, to the west and the east, to the north and the south, and all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything I have promised you. So he has this dream where God sort of establishes the covenant again with him, and we've seen God do this. And I've spoken about how the Bible seems to be a historical account of God's interactions with people, that we might know who God is. Um, and once having established the covenant with Abraham, he makes a personal confirmation of that covenant with Isaac, and then repeats that now with Jacob. And we see God, you know, not just, I knew God had promised Abraham something, you know, and I'm walking in that, but rather Abraham's God comes and reestablishes that covenant with Jacob on a personal level, which I think is quite amazing. Um, and he memorializes that, you know, and that place becomes called Beth, which was, you know, house of God, because, you know, Jacob Jacob saw the stairway to heaven there. Um, and 29, Jacob finally arrives at his uncle's house. He meets Rachel, who he finds beautiful. And he explains that he wants to he wants to marry Rachel. Um, Now, once he's explained that he wants to marry Rachel, Laban sort of strikes a deal with him where he's to work 7 years to pay for Rachel, so that he works for Laban. 7 years later, I'll give you your wife. He does so, and I'm just making sure that we don't skip past it. Cool. So Jacob does that. He works 7 years, and the Bible describes him as feeling like there were just a number of days because of his love. The strength of his love made 7 years feel like some days. And Laban tricks him, gives him Rachel instead, because Rachel is gives him Leah, the older, where Leah was described as having weak eyes, whatever that means. I've read that could mean she was not as appealing, not as beautiful. If it was popped the balloon, Jacob might have popped Leah's balloon for Rachel. But anyway, Leah is given first. Jacob is tricked into consummating his marriage with her, and he has to work another 7 years for Rachel, and does so. And so he then has two wives, and they give him a bunch of children. I'll list that out probably tomorrow. But chapter 29 ends with, Leah having children whilst Rachel hasn't, because Leah was effectively treated unfairly. She was unloved by Jacob, where he truly loved Rachel. So it's a bit of a rushed one, I know, because I've also seen that my son is up. So I'm trying to round up. But yeah, that was 27 to 29. Let's quickly figure out what tomorrow's readings are. Whilst I do that, I do hope that this encourages all of you to pick up a Bible, spend some time with God every single day. I think it's worth it. I think it's a refueling. It's a blessing. Totally knows why did you pop Evelyn? Because her eyes are weak. Exactly. Tomorrow's reading is Genesis 30:31, and we're going to meet, the tribes of Israel, especially in the names, attributed to the tribes, which I think would be quite interesting. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Tolu. Thank you, Pastor Lyle normally joins me as well. Pastor Manuel, Ade as well sometimes. So thank you. And whoever's watching this, whenever you do, I do hope that you are blessed. And yeah, I hope it encourages you to pick up your Bible and give it a read. Cool. Tomorrow I'll read before and come back with some notes, as we have been doing. It won't be like a read with me like it was today, but alas. Have a good night, morning, or rest of your day, and God bless. Peace out.